John Raspani with MaxBoxing.com and Seconds Out. I'm in Hayward with the former Trainer of the Year and the Max Boxing Trainer of the Year, Virgil Hunter, who is working, I guess, as kind of a consultant, right, with Danny Jacobs. Danny's here right now. He had media day, and he's not obviously, well, this is the first time you've worked with him, and you're close friends with his trainer, from what I understand. So what exactly is your role here with Danny? He's fighting, let's get that out there, he's fighting, obviously, everybody knows, fighting Golovkin on March 18th, Madison Square Garden, a mecca of boxing. What's your role here, Virgil?
Well, to be honest, I extended the gym to him. Sometimes I make some of their training sessions, just to come since I'm close by. But as far as training, I have no role in his training.
Okay, well, let's talk about the matchup then. Let's talk about Danny against Golovkin. You've seen Golovkin fight a lot of times. I'm sure you've seen Danny Jacobs fight a lot of times. What do you think, what is the key to nullify a big puncher like Golovkin? Obviously, you don't want to get hit on the chin, but what can you do to, like, smother him? Is it angles? Is it mental? What is, it's all of that, I guess, but what do you think is the most important thing when you fight a guy like him?
Well, in my mind, at first, you have to have the athlete with the right attributes, first and foremost. The speed, the punching ability, the pedigree, and experience, be it from a loss like the Pirov loss and some of the health things that he's been through that rounds him out mentally, that fortifies his mentality. So, Golovkin being as dangerous as he is, punching like he is, Jacobs punches extremely well also. If you get careless with him, he can hurt you. So I have seen him punching. He does have a lot behind his punches on both hands. So, I think this fight will say a lot in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah.
It'll speak for itself. Adjustments, I believe, are going to have to be made on both sides. But it could be a typical Golovkin fight. It could turn out to be that. That's what we're used to looking at. But in fairness to Jacobs, he brings a lot more to the table, I think, than some of the past opponents GGG has faced.
What do you think about Golovkin's performance against Kell Brook? Because he got tattooed with a lot of punches, and that was a smaller man that was hitting him, and he looked like he got jarred a few times to me when I was watching it. Now he's fighting a bigger man. Danny Jacobs is a much bigger man than Kell Brook. You think he's going to try to be a little tighter with his defense, or is that because Golovkin, it seems like he gets hit, and then some of the fights he doesn't get hit as much. He almost seems he's playing some on a macho game or bored in there or whatever. What do you think his plan will be against Danny Jacobs on the 18th?
Well, I don't think he'll put his hands down and tell him to hit him. I don't think that'll happen. That definitely would be foolish. I don't know the significance of his past fights as far as him telling, the media that, I let him hit me and things, I can't think of one middleweight that'll just tell a welterweight to take a free punch on him, A welterweight can knock a middleweight out. But, you have to take them for their word. He did get hit quite a bit.
Do you want to be in this photo? In the ring?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
We're
going to do a photo.
The thing that I think you have to pay attention to is that he got hit with more than one punch at a time.
He did. Yes, he did.
So that's something that you have to pay attention to. But he didn't, the style that he projected that night, suggested he would get hit. So he didn't seem to be too concerned about whether Brook can knock him out. Maybe he can buzz him, but it would have been interesting if he hadn't had that eye situation.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he would have won, but it did seem like he would hold on, a few more rounds. But Brook had no idea how to defend himself on the ropes. None. He just uses athleticism and doesn't. His hands are way over here. They're all down. His head. He's losing sight of Golovkin. He could have done much more better and protected himself much more better if he'd have maintained a position along the ropes and not be stationary. But he chose to stand there. Well, and Golovkin gets most of them to stand there like, hurry and get it over.
Yeah.
So who knows? You might have said, look, just get it over with. Or, I don't know when the eye situation happened. They might have told him give us one more round. The last round looked like he just conceded. He didn't fight back anything, whether it's the pain or whatever it was. He didn't fight back. So you got to give Golovkin credit. Brook took the fight, and Golovkin won the fight. So you accepted the fight. So that's the way it turned out. Can't take anything away from Golovkin. Got to give him his credit.
It's kind of deja vu in a way, I was thinking, because your guy Andre Ward just fought a monster, a big knockout puncher, a hard-hitting guy that everybody was so scared of and everything. And excuse me, and Andre Ward is, I mean, you know this better than anybody, so tough mentally that even when he got floored in that fight, you knew that fight was hardly over, that if anything, he was going to come back harder. Do you think that, now take Danny Jacobs, now he beat cancer, so he's got that mental fortitude, I would call it. Do you think he has enough of that to stand up there, whatever his plan is against Golovkin, if he gets knocked down, to get up and battle back? I mean, not everybody has that kind of makeup in them.
Well, I would say what he went through health-wise probably definitely trumps a fight.
Yes.
When you have to crawl to the door and don't know what's wrong with you, that's got to be tough.
Yeah.
When you have somebody say you'll never walk, let alone box, and you defy medical science, that says a lot. And then when they say you're not going to box, he defied medical science. That's heavy, to defy medical science and not only walk and box, but actually take it further than you was when you left off. That lets you know that that's in him. That's definitely in him because he proved it already. And this wasn't just one fight, it was months. So it is something in him that says no.
All right, 3302.
If he brings it out that night, it's quite possible he won't feel a punch if his mind goes into that. If he gets in that frame of mind where it's just no. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to be here. And that's just the way it's going to go because he knows he's been through something pain-wise. Much more. He had to endure it much longer than a 36-minute fight. He had to deal with it for months, the pain. And the uncertainties. How's this going to turn out? This guy's telling me I'm not going to even walk. And somewhere along the line, he said, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk. He said, I'm not going to box. I'm going to the damn I'm going to box. He willed his way to where he is today. So that's in there, the ability to will his way. If they're able to call that at the right time, it could very well lift him up into a state of mind that he could take his game to a level we haven't seen.
There's been some talk about his chin. When I was in their media day, they were talking about that. And I know you've talked about the chin, and you said that a lot of, again, is very mental. And I remember when I spoke to Andre Ward about that, when there was questions about his chin earlier in his career, remember? And he was talking about the mental part of the game. Now that's that thing again, the mental part. Now, I don't know. I don't particularly think that Danny has a weak chin. I think that's a bit of a general statement. But if a guy does have a little bit of, is it the question in his own mind? Is it doubt about his own chin? I mean, if there's any doubt, how does a trainer get him to believe that there's no problem with his chin if he's been knocked down 3 or 4 times in fights?
Well, when you look at the Purell fight, it wasn't too long after that he was diagnosed with this ailment. So it's obvious that things were going on in his body at that time. He just didn't know it. So it's obvious it was going on at that time. So if your body's in a weakened state and you're in a fight like that, something like that very well could happen. You know, but when you're talking about a tumor the size of a grapefruit, which he took off of it, that very well could have been there from his amateur days. You know, it just takes time to grow. So, but it's quite obvious it was there on his spine in that Pirov fight, because I think it was about 3 or 4 months later he was diagnosed with the cancer. I don't know who he even fought after Pirov. I think that was his last fight.
Yeah.
You see, so
Okay.
a lot of factors could come into play with that.
So, just from your opinion, what do you think the key is to beating a guy like Golovkin? Is it an offense trumps a defense? Is it angles? Is it using the ring? What do you think would be successful against Triple G?
First and foremost, the belief that you can win, and then your strategy. You know, knowing your strategy. If a guy's good at cutting off the ring, then you also, on the opposite side, have a strategy on to lay traps for a guy who likes to cut the ring off. When a guy cuts the ring off, you can lay traps for him. You know, because they like you in a certain place, and that's where you lay the traps, where they like to be. So if they have a plan like that, where they can lay traps to slow the pursuit, be able to turn at the right time, keep him down to one punch at a time, you have a good opportunity. You know, also you've seen him get tired for whatever reason after 5 or 6, but you know, nobody ever took advantage of that. So, you know, there are different ways. I'll never tell my way.
Of course not.
But there are different ways. But first of all, you have to believe you can do it. You have to go to camp believing you can do it. You can't deviate from that. And then you have to have the physical attributes. And he does have physical attributes. He can punch, and he's got speed. So it just depends on, I think the first 2 rounds are such a round.
Okay, that's a great way to end it. All right, John Responding for MaxBoxing.com and Seconds Out. That is Virgil Hunter. He is always busy. He's got 1,000 people out there wanting to interview him. So I'll let him go. Thanks a lot. As always, Virgil, you take care and good luck with everything.
John.